Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back. So welcome to the Boss Katana Mark II software. Now, I just bought a Katana 100 watt Mark II today at Long McQuaid in North Bay. Feel free to check out their website, go in store, blah blah blah. Alright, so I am primarily a Mac user, but I do happen to own a PC laptop. Thank goodness for that. Recently I had gone back and I had gotten rid of my GT1000 pedal, went back to an ME80, but regardless of that, my operating system on my Mac has been upgraded to Mac OS X Catalina. And of course, the ME80 no longer functions on the Mac, at least until Boss updates their stuff. But you're going to find the same problem with your Katana amps, your original Katanas, more than likely the GT1000, as well as probably a lot of other Boss hardware that's not going to be friendly with Catalina on the Mac OS X. And of course, Catalina strikes again yet today with the Katana Mark II. Installing the driver went smooth. Then, of course, I downloaded the program into my Mac and fired it up, and of course it says Katana, and it gives you three choices. In my case, it's the three choices are Katana. There we go. It failed. Select Katana something or other DAW. Nope, that didn't work. Steinberg box, or not Steinberg, sorry. My Focusrite box. Because it wants a MIDI in and out thing, right? Nope, still no go. Nothing's working. Went back to the site. Oh, firmware update. Okay, well, we know when firmware updates happen. That's another reason why it knocks our stuff offline, right? So I updated the firmware, and once again, same problem. So I hauled out my Windows 10 laptop. Now, Windows doesn't do major overhauls. I mean, they do some pretty big upgrades, but let's face it, Windows 10 is always going to be Windows 10. At least that's what Microsoft said when they did Windows 10. They will never do another version. Okay, they'll just keep updating it forever. Okay, no problem. So, with a Windows 10 computer, you just plug in your Katana amp and make sure it's powered on and plug it into the USB port. It'll automatically download the driver, which is kind of nice because the Mac, it's not an auto thing. It's an actual physical install. But anyways, it does it, says it's ready to go, so I downloaded the Tone Studio for the Katana 100 Mark II. And as you can see, we are up and running. No problems. So I can even quit out of this program and I can go and relaunch it. Come on. Everything goes smooth. Okay? So it's going to fire up, and you can even tell because I can turn one of my knobs here and you'll see that I'm activating stuff. Okay? So we know it works fine on the Windows 10 laptop. Now I'm going to plug in my USB cable because it's not the longest one in the world here. I have an extension cable. Now let's just close the lid on that. Unplug. Plug in. Now, on the Mac side, let me just bring that up so you can see what's happening here. Hopefully you'll be able to see this really good, but anyway, so I'm in my system settings, and I'm going to go into sound. Now you'll see that Katana is actually in the list. So that's great. That's awesome news because the driver went in without a hitch. No problems. Alright, so we got a Katana driver there. Now, we're going to close out and we're going to go launch the software for the Katana Mark II. And this is what's going to happen for Catalina users. It says Katana, Katana DAW control, or my Scarlett 2 and 4 USB interface. Well, we want the Katana, of course. So we click OK. It'll go off and it'll search, do its thing, blah blah blah. Come on, anytime now. And it craps out. Wrong device. Check the pairing device and connecting device again. Well, it says Katana, in and out, right? So if we go to this one, and it doesn't matter what combination you pick. You could just pick the top one only or the bottom one only or vice versa. And it's going to rescan again for the Katana amp to try and find it. Which, it already found a Katana amp, right? So it's in the sound panel, so it should be fine. So again, it craps out. So even if we take this off, let's go, let's go MIDI in. Let's go to the USB out. MIDI as the out. Just so you can see the combinations. Do 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 do, and again it craps out. Katana Mark II is not connected to the computer. Library and Tone Studio are available, however, tone setting data can't be saved. Okay, so what happens if we turn knobs? Absolutely nothing. So you can play around all you want. Nothing's going to happen. Okay? No matter what you do. So let's get out of the Mac side. So back into the PC. Let me just quit the program. And we're back to the PC. Plug in. And fire up the Mark II. Choose a device to connect with. Katana Control, Dog Control, or just the Katana. Well, I just want the Katana only. Oh, it says it's not connecting now. Well, isn't that interesting? It's not connected to the computer. Okay. Let's turn the power off. This is an interesting thing. Turn back on. Yeah, that is the Mark II software. Let's try Katana Control. Let's see what happens. Katana Control. And we have Control. Okay. Let's get out of there. Let's fire up again. Maybe the Katana it's going after is the original Katana driver. Maybe it's something I didn't notice. No, fires right up. No problem. Okay, so you might get a hiccup there. But we can certainly change everything here. We'll be able to save our changes too. So there's the acoustic channel, clean channel. Now, Boss says there's 5 different variations for each amp in the amp section. Well, they're lying. Okay, you have, it says 5 variations for each amp channels. Okay, so I take that as I can go and cycle 5 different clean amps, 5 different crunch amps, 5 different lead, and 5 different brown and 5 different acoustics. But you have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 channels, or 5 amp types. So you can select 2 different clean, 2 different crunch, 2 different lead, 2 different brown, 2 different acoustic. Now let me just connect my Boss wireless here to a guitar. So we are going to plug in to the input. I have no idea if this guitar is even in tune still. Now that's with the red light lit for variation. So let's change that so you hear a tone difference. So the next one here is crunch. And turn off the variation. So there's definitely a noticeable tone difference. Here's the lead channel. And of course our brown channel. Now if you go and click on variation, it lights red or not at all. And that's what you're going to get. Acoustic channel is just an acoustic preamp for an acoustic guitar, but you know, you shouldn't actually use this channel for an electric. Let's go to the clean. Turn the variation on, clean. Now back to the acoustic. And turn it off. Okay, so there are some of the basics of the amp. As far as booster goes, clean. Mod in there. Let's add in an FX, a bit of delay. Now you have cab resonance as well. That's modern, so vintage. Okay, so let's just go into a straight Now we want the booster. Let's turn off that FX, put a little bit of delay in there. Deep. So let's see what happens when we just play and switch. So there's a little bit of tonal difference between them. Not a whole ton, but a little bit. So anyway, a lot of you will know, if you've been on my channel or on it long enough, you'll know that I used to have a Katana Mark 1. And it is an awesome amp, actually. But of course there were some things that I really didn't like about it, one of which was you could either go just with a booster, or just with a mod, or just with an FX, or just with a delay. Now you can do it all at once, and now you get a lot more range as well. Because we used to get cut off around 12 o'clock, as you guys recall. I'm probably in the way of the camera. Maybe. But anyways, we used to only be able to do one thing at a time. Well, now we can do both at a time. So now we can have a delay and an FX at the same time as having a mod and a booster. This opens us up to a lot more capabilities out of the amp. So anyways, like I said, I got rid of the Katana 100 watt 1x12, and that was fine, not a big deal. I ended up going to an orange amp, which I still have and I'm not getting rid of. I love that orange amp. But once I saw the Mark II, I was like, that's everything I would have loved to be able to do. You know. Now we still have the whole thing of 8 channels across 4, so you've got channel 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the amp, right? And then you have another 1, 2, 3, and 4, which, if I recall correctly, and let me just get past the camera here for a second, we should be able to just hit the panel button. Yeah, same as last time. Hit the panel button, and it puts you over to the other 4 channels. Hit it again, and puts you back to the original setup. From what I'm seeing so far, it's looking like Boss programmed this one with the software settings from the factory the same as what they did on the original Katana, or Katana Mark 1s, as some people are insulted by that title, but oh well. Anyways, this thing does have a noise suppressor in it as well. You've got the EQ, pedal FX, you can assign a bunch of stuff here. You go to your FX mode and change your pedals. And there's over 60 Boss effects in here now, which is great. And I'm sure once they do another update and give us more pedals like they did with the last amp, that'll be even cooler too. The only thing really missing from the Katana amps that would make it really awesome is a digital display that would tell us exactly what booster we're using, what mod we're using, FX, and what delay, and so on. To remember all this stuff is going to be very difficult, so you'll have to program your amp, write down a cheat sheet for every single one, and, you know, because you're going to, basically what you're doing is you're building patches for songs, so you're going to need to know where to go for each one, right? If there was a digital display that we could also, you know, name the song to the patch we're doing, it'd be like so easy, because even rolling through the foot switch would be great, you know, and just put them in order according to your gig. That, I think, is the only thing that's really missing from the Katana, being probably, well, I hate to use the word because it doesn't exist, but the most perfect amp out there, okay? But we're not going to rely on the word perfect, but we'll say probably the far most best amp out there. Okay. Now the Katana 100 watt 1x12, which I bought today, is $4.99 Canadian. Okay, now that was at Long and McQuaid, so look for a link in the video description below in all my Katana videos, because that's where you can buy it in Canada, which is where I would recommend dealing, because I do have also not only great staff and awesome selection and the best prices, but they also have the best external warranty system for performance warranties that they do. So with the Mark II, I'm very impressed so far. I gotta tell you, I really am. What I'm not impressed with is the fact that they are not yet ready for Catalina. Well, put it this way, I prefer to keep all of my music stuff on my Mac, because my Mac is in my studio for a reason. It runs my studio gear, all my equipment, right? But now, the problem now becomes is, now I have to program my ME80, I have to program my Katana and whatever other devices I need to program. I now have to program all of that stuff on my laptop in order to make use of it off the computer. Okay, now once I get everything programmed, that's not a big deal. I can still, run my devices into my computer and use my settings that I'm using and so on. But it's the programming part. It really annoys me. And it's going to annoy a lot of other people too. Until Boss gets all their stuff, even the other stuff, like I said, the GT1000, of course the ME80, and many other of their devices that won't work under Catalina all of a sudden. They have to get that stuff up to snuff to run on Catalina. And you're probably going to run into the same problem with the original Katana, is that it's not going to run under Catalina either. And that's going to suck. But it's kind of the way things go at this point. Catalina, also keep in mind, is a very new operating system, so Boss has not yet caught up. So maybe in a few weeks or a month, they'll get caught up. And also, just so that you are aware, that if you are running Windows 10 on your Mac, Boss does not support the emulation system. Okay? So you either run your stuff on a Mac, or you run it on a real Windows computer, okay, with the Boss stuff. So if you are already on Catalina, either find a way to go backwards, or get yourself a real PC laptop or desktop and use it until they do get up to snuff, or just learn to use even a small laptop. You could even do it with a netbook that runs Windows 10. As long as it's got USB input, you can run the Tone Studio. It's going to support it on a real Windows 10 computer. Okay, and I'm surprised Windows 10 has no issues. Because even Windows goes through a lot of updates at times, as we all know. Mac goes through major overhauls and they redo a lot of stuff. Like I lost out on my Steinberg UR22 MK2 USB interface going to Catalina. It used drivers. So when I went to the Focusrite startup box, there's no drivers required. I just plugged it in and it's perfect even with Catalina. Which is great. So it's like, hey, yes, I like this. But anyways, in the meantime, the other thing I wanted to show you guys here in the software is the chain. Boss was so very nice to us. They gave us, instead of not 3 chains the way they want them, but they now have a 4th chain. We still can't manipulate, so that's actually one other thing I should make a point on, other than a digital readout like I was telling you about. I want to be able to change the order of my stuff any way I see fit, like you can do with the Boss GT1000 pedal board, okay? And not everybody's got, $1,300 Canadian to put out for a GT1000 pedal board, okay? So, but being able to arrange the effects the way we want the chain to go would also be something ideal, okay? Which is something that, a lot of people want as well. Maybe eventually they'll do it, or maybe they'll come up with enough extra chains that we'll actually find ones that we like the most. Who knows? But I'd still rather have the ability to do what I was able to do on the GT1000, but I can't complain too much, because at least now I get to use all those effects across the board now that I couldn't use before, which is a huge, huge step, So that's actually a great thing. So overall, I'm pretty impressed with the amp. I'm pretty impressed with the sound of it. Do stay tuned for a demo of the amp. I'll go through a few settings, not everything. I'll get into programming this thing with some of my favorite stuff when I get around to it. But I wanted to show you guys the program today and give you a heads up of what's happening between the Mac platform and the Windows platform with this software. Okay? And also keep in mind there is a firmware update. It does tell you how to check to make sure whether or not you need the update. I'm probably going to guess that, you know, unless they've already shipped out a whole new batch already, you know, you're going to have to do the update, okay? But just check first. It tells you how to check. I did do the update on mine. It took the update, needed to be done, so there you go. Anyways, a couple other little features before we go is in the system. The line out setting can be changed from record, live, or blend. It's called line out air feel. Now that's when you're going to go line out to a PA system or, you know, into your USB box, whatever. Power amp in settings, line out air feel. Okay. Oh, sorry. Power amp in. There we go. HDF type, frequency and level. Global equalizer. Okay. Input and output you can change. You get the G10, GE10 or the parametric, software off or on, USB setting, of course, mix, level, effect, dry, so on, MIDI settings, gives you all this stuff, owner's manual, free to download, but you do get a manual hard copy with your amp, device setting, Katana control, MIDI in and out is also Katana control. Version is version 1.00, even though the update I think was 1.01 or something. It still reads as 1.00. All data backup and restore. So you can back up all your patches that you made now and then restore them whenever you need to. Especially if you're going to actually do a factory reset on the amp to wipe out all the stuff you did. As long as you backed it up, you're not going to lose that stuff. So it's kind of cool. So you can actually do different backups. Anyways, you know, you got the usual stuff. It's just as easy to run as the original Tone Studio, but with a lot of extras. And of course now you get over 60 different Boss pedals, which is really cool. You know, if you read the part of the amp, let me just scoot past the camera here. The usual cardboard thing that comes on the top. Is simple and intuitive to use, custom designed 12-inch speaker, onboard presets with easy access, extensive foot switch controls, stereo USB recording, 5 variations for each amp channels. I'm only going 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 on each amp there. The way I'm reading it, and I could be wrong, okay, but the way I'm reading it, it should be 5 variations of acoustic, 5 of the clean, 5 crunch, 5 lead, 5 brown. That's what I would take that as for what they're saying. Anyways, nonetheless, you still get to go click, 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 click on all of them. 5 independent effects sections. Power amp in for preamps and multi-effects. Stereo expand for wide spatial tone, 100-watt models only, okay, and more they say. So there's probably some stuff on the 50-watt that you're definitely not going to get. Actually, there's a lot of hardware stuff you're not going to get on the 50-watt. So you got to kind of choose the right Katana for you and for your purposes, you know, so don't jump the gun too quick and go, oh, it just came out, I'm going to get it because there's no 100s in stock. If you want a 100, wait for it, okay? Long McQuaid got in 150 watt and 100. I took the 100 watt home, you know, and I'm very happy that they actually had the 100, you know, this quick, because it's like, yes, you know, and because even I've been waiting for this thing ever since I saw a few videos on YouTube, because it's been in the States, right, and it's kind of like, coming soon at the Long McQuaid website, right, and then I noticed they had a 50 watter in stock, and, you know, and it's like, yeah, maybe I can rent that one and try it out and see and, you know, wait for my 100. But it turned out they actually did have a 100 watt as well in stock at our store. So I was like, cool, I'm taking it home. Yes! So anyway, there you go. So that's the scoop on all this stuff. And so I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it wasn't too long for you, but hey, informative is what we like to be on my channel, and letting you know what's happening. Like I said, stay tuned for a bunch of demo videos, because I'm going to demo, of course, my Les Paul, and we'll do some video with that, my Strat, and of course my acoustic guitar. We'll plug it in, run the acoustic channel. We'll run through some of the effects, that sort of dealy, you know, and see what you think. And of course, we'll mic up the amp with a 24-bit mic, and you know, you can be the judge yourself. Just keep in mind, this stuff doesn't always sound the same in every room and area. It's just a pretty good ballpark idea of what to expect out of the amp. But I've played a little bit on it on my Les Paul already today, and I got to tell you, I am pretty impressed with it, especially with having full range now of each one of these controls. You know, like you go from like 0, which is off, all the way to the end, you know, on each one. And it's like, yeah, now that's better than going from 0 to 12 o'clock, you know. And then of course 12 o'clock you get cut off and get stuck on the next side. So now you don't anymore. It's like really nice. So anyways, so thank you again, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.